Yeah, we need to talk about this one. Not that this is anything positive or a self-defense situation in any matter. Not that this has any bearing to do with a good guy with a gun. Um, but this is more to do with an infection in our society that we're currently dealing with. It's an existential threat upon, well, society as a whole at the moment. You guys know what's going on. You saw the title card, breaking news: Charlie Kirk shot at Utah Valley University event, and a father, a great worker, valiant for the cause, patriot, taken far too soon, taken far too soon off this earth. It's unfortunate. I'm a little distraught. Obviously, I don't know Charlie Kirk. I've never met Charlie Kirk. I've never been to a TPUSA event or anything to do with his college events. I just obviously I've seen Charlie Kirk do. It's kind of hard, no matter what your thoughts are, not to know who Charlie Kirk is. That being said, this should never have happened. Something like this should have never occurred. Personally, I do think that if a higher majority of people were armed, and even if a couple percent of this particular crowd was well equipped, sure, the events probably would have been the same, but who knows, actually. You never know, actually. Maybe they would have felt not comfortable attempting such actions. You never know. I don't know. It's possible. It's very possible. But that being said, it's a blight that's currently hitting our country, of these senseless, violent attacks for no good reason. It's heartbreaking that this has happened, and this is on the heels of this other event here. Ukrainian woman who was stabbed, unfortunately also didn't make it, just while riding a train. This is a space that, theoretically, of course, I understand that no public space is a safe space. In fact, that's why we're an armed society, is to help prevent these and to make sure that these spaces are safe. But this is theoretically a space that should be, safe, at least to the aspect of the unknown or somebody who's not paying attention. Obviously, I encourage you to keep your head on the swivel, pay attention to your surroundings, and always, look like you're paying attention. At least, if you're on your phone, at least be vigilant to what's around you while on your phone. Keep your hands on your pocket. Keep paying attention to what's around you. That being said, just on the heels of something like this that happened, obviously this happened a few weeks ago. The country's kind of just more recently coming to knowledge of this, and then today with this event here, and I've heard of other events, mass casualty events, unfortunately, that happened on this day as well. For instance, school shootings. I'm not saying that they are as as often as some in the mass media would have you believe, but these events would be stopped a lot quicker by a good guy making a hard entrance. An event like this, quite a few good guys making making the scene look harder than it is to pull off something goes a long way. Of course, I didn't even pull this up, and I actually just thought of it. What happened on July 13th in Butler. An assassination attempt as well. This was not an attempt, it was a success. Of course, this Ukrainian woman, I wouldn't necessarily say it was a direct assassination out of anything, but because of her, who she is, maybe for why she is or what she is. I don't know. that's still to be determined. But this is a blight of senseless violence. Of course, we could go further back to Aaron Danielson, Portland. Of course, this one here is also politically motivated, much like the Charlie Kirk. He's a pro-Trump protester. 2 right in the chest. Senselessly. No need. No reason. No... I mean, obviously there's reasons and motives behind it, but no, like, justifiable reason. Aaron Danielson wasn't doing something that provoked self-defense. Which, if he was, get it. But no, he wasn't. There was no self-defense in this situation. This was cold blood. Much like the other 2. If we acted like the society that our forefathers set for us to be, these events would maybe happen still, but end a lot different. And a lot different. I can't even read this one. You see that first word, second line. Can't read it. Can't. This happened on a train. There were people with this woman on a train. You can see they pulled out their phones and filmed it. Sure, some called the police, but like, that says writers did not call the police. Sure, maybe somebody pulled out their phone and called the police. Sure. They're on a train. What's that gonna do? What's it gonna do? They're on a train. If we acted like the society, the culture that our forefathers designed us to be, it wouldn't have happened like this. I think it said something like 40 minutes of harassment followed by a vile betrayal of human dignity. And of course, we can blast closer to a more relevant topic that happened, or I guess not relevant, but more recent. Lincoln Riley. We all know what happened there. We all know what befell Lincoln Riley. Shouldn't have happened. Shouldn't have happened. I mean, she is in Texas. I wish she would have lived the Texas way, if you know what I'm saying, right? Come and take it. Be prepared. But, of course, she's out jogging. That's not something you should have to think about while you're just out enjoying the place you live. You shouldn't have to be on your way to work or wherever it is that you're going and to do 40 minutes of violation, or heck, an end to your life without a single person even trying. Not even an attempt. And of course, the political tensions that are coming up in this beautiful country. First, it simmers. People we don't know. Faces we've never met, we've never seen, we don't have a connection to. Sure, many spoke their name, Aaron Daniels, Lincoln Riley, and people were talking about it, of course. People were bringing it up. There were people, of course, in the know, people in the political mainstream talking about this. Nothing like this. Sorry about that. Nothing like this. Charlie Kirk. This woke the silent majority. There's this is historic. No better person, I guess, to make such a pivotal impact in America other than the man that founded it. I mean, he said it himself, Turning Point USA. This may be the turning point. Not to make any light, any pun. I mean this sincerely. My wife, of course, is a little affected by this because I'm politically motivated. She's not necessarily a super politically minded person, or she's not in the weeds as much, right? But people she follows that are cooking influencers, clothing, Instagram influencers, and people from reality TV shows are posting Charlie Kirk's face. People that do like true crime, and of course this is true crime, so it makes sense. But like a true crime, think of exactly what you're thinking on YouTube, where it's just like true time stories of like who did it. We kind of know who did it. Obviously, they haven't found the person who did it, but like it's not too surprising. They're posting about this. Again, cooking influencers to clothing people. Like, come on, to band members to bands that we listen to that either some of them are on that political left side, some of them are on the political right side. They don't talk about it because it's like divisive. You're just trying to make music, man. You're making art. You don't want to divide your chances to sell your art. They're talking about this. Of course, I've already been talking about not necessarily this, but things along this line. The idea of self-defense, the idea of protecting oneself and those around you. But I'm a nobody, man. I'm just a little grain comparatively to this meteorite of a patriot here. I'm just a little grain here. I've kind of fell off the face either. If I know. I'll talk about that in the next video. That's fine. But I'm a little grain here. Like I'm talking about this. I decided, it's middle of the night. I just got off work. Spent some time with my kid, my family. I'm here. I'm making this video because this is important. There's an infection, and I talked a little bit about it earlier, in this country that's people on social media, people I know, people I've grown up with, people that I used to at one point consider friends, cheering this on. Heck, dare I say closer relations. Cheering this on. This is how it starts, guys. I've been obviously not here because I fell off the face of the earth. I was only doing it for a little while. But in my personal life, my friends, my family, my close acquaintance, Strauss's generational theory, I've been talking about this for a little bit. This thing is coming. 80 years ago. It just happens, man. It's cyclical. It's what happens. The stress only builds up so much before the dam breaks, and gosh, that's a big blow to the dam. One of the most influential names in the idea of the political sphere, no matter what side you're on, man. It's a crazy point. I don't want to say like Prince Franz Ferdinand point, but Prince Franz Ferdinand wasn't like all that big of a guy. And Charlie Kirk's not necessarily like huge. Obviously, he was royalty, but like just royalty, whatever. This is Charlie Kirk, and of course he's not royalty, but he has the hearts, the attention of the youth. People I wouldn't consider political people talk about Charlie Kirk. A little bit. Hey, I saw this funny thing of Charlie Kirk, it was pretty cool. Owned the libs, it's funny, whatever it is. They're not super political, it's just, hey, it was a funny video. They're talking about him. They're bringing it up. They have the hearts and the minds of people younger than me, and who do you think it is that solves those problems? It's the young. They're the first that do this. They're the first that go for it. So, growing up, I was homeschooled. One thing we talked about was, well, the time we split, Civil War. It started out much like this. Small squabbles. You know, of course, this was over a stark political divide that was separating state by state. This state was that, this state was that, and they hated each other. But there were those in the state that were squabbling. That was the spark leading Kansas. You know, these differences, these aren't boundary differences. These are kitchen table differences. It's hard. Like, even back then, it split families. There were brothers that fought brothers, uncles that fought, you know, nephews. It wasn't super clear cut. It was dirty. I mean, we can see it's not only is it political, but it's also just anarcho-tyranny. Right? It's just lawlessness. It's uncontrollable violence. And those who forsake their rights for safety lose their rights, lose their safety. You can't just pay for safety. You must be ever really vigilant. And I think it's time that our culture remembers the armed culture that we come from, the people that founded this place, the people that made this place. Of course, it started out not so safe, but there was once a time that you didn't mess with a fellow American, because, you know, there's probably a chance you're gonna get it. It's time we bring that back. It's time that we take care of our business and the strong men, strong women. I'm not saying go crazy. I'm not saying this is violence. No. This is a foot down. This is a no. Stop it. We're not going to take this anymore. I don't think they're going to take it anymore. People that don't talk about this stuff are talking about this stuff. They're posting about it. They're influencing about this. Where's the off ramp? You know, where's the? How do we slow this down? How do we put the pot on the back burner? How do we simmer down? It's not gonna happen. I don't know if it's gonna happen. I don't know if it's gonna happen. But you're not gonna take it from me. This is mine. This is yours. It's time we act that way. You know. Again, be prepared. Be vigilant. Keep your eyes out. These things happen all over. Subways, standing at a bus stop, in light at a grocery store. I mean, we've covered stories where people are get attacked at grocery stores, gas stations, heck, the freeway, your work. It's not safe. It's not just safe because it's been safe, man. The safety was but a golden era. And it wasn't safe before that. It was only safe because we made it safe, and then we forgot what made it safe. We put up the fence to keep the wolves out, and then when the wolves were gone, we took it down because we thought it was fine. No, the wolves are still there. The fence is just gone. Anyways, stay armed, stay safe, pay attention out there. No amount of being safe, staying armed would have prevented this today. But if it would have been that way from the start, maybe it never escalated this much. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe.